I got a call from a guy in ministry. We'd met like one time and talked about some potential collaboration. So it was kind of out of the blue. I pick it up and he said, "Hey, I got a word for you from God in prayer today. Do you mind me sharing it with you?" I'm sure, yeah. And he said, God said, you've been building the kingdom on your own power and on your own terms. And he's now inviting you to build his kingdom with his power on his term. Cool. Like, great. Thanks. And he said, I said, was there anything more? And he said, yeah. He said, a flood is coming, but you and your family are going to be okay. He's building you a home on Mount Zion. I remember he said it that way. He's building you a home on Mount Zion, right? But the key point of it was like God was going to sort of send this flood that would then have us come build the church and surrender to his plan for it. And so then COVID hits in March 2020. There were issues on site speaking and consulting, and parishes didn't have offertories, so they're cutting contracts. I've got dioceses and parishes reaching back out to me and saying, hey, like the deposit we paid, you have to pay us back and all this stuff, like just crazy, And we really experienced it as like God is calling us to do something new and to be open to something new. And so that I was basically like effectively unemployed for 6 months. My wife couldn't work. She was a nurse and she got like really bad, that sort of OG COVID. She was like running 104 fevers. So they wouldn't let her work. And we were kind of just like locked down for 6 months of like, I'm looking for jobs, but unemployment's at 20%. I'm trying to pray about like, is God still calling me into ministry, this whole thing? And then that summer, Archbishop Aquila called me here and said, hey, we read your book and I heard you might be looking for a job. And will you come in and have a meeting with me? And basically the pitch was like, I want to move the Archdiocese to mission. There's a lot of good and like it's a healthy church here in the Archdiocese of Denver, but I really want us to just be more focused on mission. And I want you to come help me. So I reported directly to the Archbishop and I had no direct reports. I would joke my job title was just other duties as assigned. And it was just about like, we built Archbishop his first leadership team. I facilitated that team. We worked with the group to Acts 29 to help kind of move the diocese to mission. And around the same time, I'd been asked to ghostwrite a project for the USCCB, a resource. And so that introduced me to Bishop Andrew Cousins, who invited me to be on the Committee for Evangelization and Catechesis as a lay consultant right when they were starting the Eucharistic Revival project. The Lord kind of like sent the flood to destroy everything, to free me up to work both here locally. And I learned a lot working for the Archdiocese, but also then I led the initial strategic planning for the Eucharistic Revival, was eventually hired to be the CEO of the Eucharistic Congress. Like I tell the story now partly because like in retrospect, I can see exactly what his plan was, but at the time it was super painful. So in some ways, if I'd had it my way, I'd still just be running my own thing. But the Lord made it very clear that he had a different plan and a different path. And so learning to temper my own entrepreneurial energy